This is On the Sidelines with Box 13.
Yep, that's right. We are back. Another episode of the On the Sidelines podcast. I'm your host, Ethan McReynolds, here, as always, with my co-host, DJ Dante Jackson. Dante, the Mariners made a move.
Yes,
the trade deadline's coming up. They have acquired first baseman Josh Naylor from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Big news around baseball. The trade deadline just 2 days away. We're going to be talking about all that. And yeah, a lot of stuff going on with the Mariners on the field as well. The trade deadline, hoping to help out. We've got Ichiro being inducted into the Hall of Fame. We're going to go over top 5 Ichiro moments, courtesy of DJ.
Yes.
Seahawks Training Camp started, and we got some What's Trending stuff featuring Lionel Messi. So stick around from that. But DJ, the Mariners have gotten Josh Naylor. They now have an everyday first baseman to slot into the middle of that lineup. What was your reaction to the trade?
Well, first I must add, or I must say, Jerry Dipoto, good job. I mean, you listened to On the Sidelines. You heard me tell you, hey, we need a deal, and you made that deal. And you stated it in an article saying, hey, we're going to be aggressive. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted, you to speak it into existence. Good job. All right, now, as far as the Naylor trade, I think he's a piece that the Mariners need. He solidified his first base position. He's good defensively. And if you saw that bomb on Monday night, that's exactly what the Mariners need right there. I mean, him batting cleanup is a great move. What more can you say?
Well, I think it's the perfect amount to give up for a rental bat.
Yes.
You give up a Brandon Garcia, left-handed pitcher, and Ashton Izzy, a right-handed pitcher, both guys outside of your top 10 prospects. Getting a Josh Naylor who, you know, is pretty elite with the bat, hitting 294 on the season and OPS over 800 to add to the middle. It just slots right into the middle of this lineup. You've got more protection for Cal. You've got Randy Arozarena sliding down in the lineup. It just lengthens the entire lineup. It makes this team better.
And that's the point I was going to make. It makes this lineup longer. I mean, I watched the game the other night, and just having just one person, one professional at bat in that lineup just made that offense look that much better. I love the move, although we need to get another Diamondback in the fold.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so Eugenio Suarez, I'm assuming, is who you're referring to.
Yes, Lord.
I think the best part of this deal, and really the first major acquisition of the entire trade deadline in the entire league, similar to what the Mariners did back when they acquired Luis Castillo. There were multiple starting pitchers on the market. The Mariners jumped the gun before everybody else, paid a little bit more than maybe I feel like they were comfortable paying, but they got their guy. Forces the Yankees to repivot and go get a Frankie Montas who ended up hurt, Carlos Rodon, various guys. The Mariners get on this early, and then it sort of, I feel like it takes the pressure off a little bit for the rest of the deadline, because even if you don't get an Eugenio Suarez, who we'll talk about, you still got better at the deadline. You still got another bat. Do you want an Eugenio Suarez? Absolutely. Who doesn't want a Geno Suarez with 36 bombs right now? Do you need it? No, because you got Josh Naylor. I would absolutely love him, though. It's going to come at a steep price, though. Are you comfortable paying that price?
You know, I go back and forth on it. I'll be honest. I flip-flop on it. I say let's go for it. Do we think this is a championship team? That is the question to be answered. So if you feel like this is a championship team, I say go get them regardless of the price, because those are just prospects. They haven't, reached their potential yet. We don't know if they're going to be big leaguers. So I would say yes. I want Suarez in the fold, and with Naylor already here, I think it'll be one of the top offenses in the American League. And with the pitching staff rounded into shape, I watched Kirby the other night, and he looked fantastic. It looks like Kirby is back. I think this is a championship squad.
Well, and Adam Jude came out with an article in the Seattle Times about what the potential asking price could be for an Eugenio Suarez.
What did he say?
You're only getting him for 2 months. He said the reported asking price is an MLB level ready player, a AAA/AA type prospect, and then also a lower level prospect. So if you want to equate that to the Mariners farm system, you're probably talking Logan Evans. Is that enough as an MLB ready guy? Maybe it's a Bryce Miller. I don't know. Logan Evans, Harry Ford, and a Felnine Celestin. That's a lot. That's 2 top 100 guys and an MLB ready starting pitcher. for 2 months of Eugenio Suarez.
Right, but
do you do that deal?
I do that deal because last week you the one that said that you think Suarez has a chance of sticking with the Mariners. He likes it here,
it's possible, yeah.
And hopefully they can sign him. I don't know if they can afford him, And when those rumors started with Suarez, he was okay player. It seems like he just hit this heater right now, where I think he's second or third behind Cal in home runs, 80-something RBIs. I don't know what got into the guy, but the price just went up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it was no player has been traded at the deadline with as many home runs as Geno Suarez has right now. So as far as rental goes, he could be the greatest rental acquisition of all time at the trade deadline. So it's going to come at a steep price. Also in that Adam Jewett article, he mentioned that while the Mariners are pursuing Eugenio Suarez, the bigger priority for them right now at the deadline is getting another high leverage reliever. Which, me personally, after you get Josh Naylor, I think you have more of a need in the back end of that bullpen than you do in the lineup. So a couple of guys, the names that he mentioned, Joan Duran and Griffin Jacks from the Minnesota Twins, either of those guys I would be absolutely thrilled with. David Bednar as well from the Pittsburgh Pirates, Ryan Helsley from the St. Louis Cardinals. This bullpen is not ready for October. You've got Andres Munoz and Matt Brash who are carrying the load. Gabe Spire, can come into leverage situations. I feel like he's better positioned as a guy to situationally get left-handed hitters out. I don't know if you want to be relying on him to get you through a 7th or an 8th inning. You need to go get a Joan Duran, man. He's 27 years old. He's got 2.5 more years of control. He is one of the best leverage arms in the league, especially after Emmanuel Clase is now out for the count with some gambling allegations.
Yes, I mean, I guess the question is, what is the price?
I would give up a top 100 prospect for Joan Duran without blinking an eye.
But let's think about it. If the Mariners make the playoffs, do they really need that arm?
Absolutely,
you have a Bryce Miller on his way back, and you don't need.
That's a starter, though.
I understand, but you work him back as a middle. I don't think he makes it back into that starting rotation. I say that to say this. You only need 3 strong starters in the playoffs, I believe, truly. So some of those starters, like a Bryce Miller, you bump them back to a middle or a certain leverage position. Mm-hmm. So you do have the pitching in place on a team if you get creative. But you have to make the playoffs first. So I think you shorten the rotation, and whoever's left, they become your leverage arm. I mean, I'd hate to see Bryce Miller in the 7th or the 6th or 7th inning if I was an opponent. So I think you do have those leverage arms in place, but you have to get there first.
I would say that sometimes starters moving into the pen, the stuff doesn't translate.
Yes.
I think back to when the Mariners traded Paul Sewald for Josh Rojas and Dominic Canzone, and down the stretch in late August and into September, how worn out Andres Munoz was because he was really your only leverage arm. Matt Brash threw the most innings of any reliever, and then the next season he's got Tommy John surgery, misses the entire year. You can't have enough leverage relievers and dudes that are accustomed to coming in to those spots knowing they just need to get 3 outs throughout the middle of the lineup. I think adding a Joan Duran to this bullpen, right now I would say it's probably a middling bullpen. The numbers sort of back that up a little bit right now with the Mariners in the league. You add a Joan Duran, you're talking top 10, top 5.
I agree. I agree, but it has to come at, what's the cost is the question. And also, if you happen to not make that move, I believe you get creative and you have some pitchers in place. You have a plan B.
Well, you're talking about you got to make it to the playoffs. Yeah. You can't get creative with adding those starters into the bullpen until you get to the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying.
So part of it, this bullpen's not ready for October. It's also not ready for the stretch run.
September.
Yeah, I don't think it's good enough right now. And you think about the Mariners and how they've just sort of pumped out these. They find these diamonds in the rough in the bullpen, the Drew Steckenriders of the world, the Gabe Spires, right? they haven't found too many of those guys the past couple of years.
Yes.
It's led to the middle to back end of the bull, or middle to the the front end of the bullpen not being as deep as it normally is. Trent Thornton was sort of that guy. He has not really been that.
They tried to put Vargas in that role this year.
Vargas has sort of been up and down. I mean, that's the guy that you're replacing right there is Carlos Vargas. You move him from a leverage spot where he sort of lost that role to Gabe Spire. You move him into a middle relief, throw him in the 5th, 6th inning to get you out of a jam, to help out that starter. You need to get a guy in the back end of that bullpen. That way you're not putting too much on Andres Muñoz's shoulders.
I agree. I agree with you.
Would you rather them prioritize that leverage arm or Eugenio Suarez in that third base spot?
Suarez. I mean, he puts the ball over the fence.
Yeah.
He scores points.
That's what D-Jack likes.
Yes. And you know what? He's a star. Good vibes only.
Yeah.
And I heard they still have the sign up in the Mariners, dugout or the clubhouse. So he'd come in and fit right in. He'd give more protection. That would be a menacing lineup. Mm-hmm. When you see that lineup as an opponent, I mean, you better take notice. So I say Suarez definitely because I believe the arms can be there. It's as far as the arms and the middle relievers and stuff like that, it's year by year. Like you mentioned Steckenrider. He had the year for the Mariners, and then he fell off. And they always seem to find that person. So I think that person is somewhere in the organization. I would love for them to make that move with a Duran. But if they can't, I'm taking Suarez every day, all day.
Yeah, I mean, I want Suarez too. I just think that bullpen right now is so important. And you look at the lineup after you get Naylor. Really, the only weak spot is that third base spot. It's not like you've got multiple holes. Like now that you've filled the first base spot and you don't have some platoon with Luke Raley and Donovan Solano, It's really just Ben Williamson. And Ben Williamson is serviceable. He does enough. Can you absolutely upgrade there with a major league talent? Like if it's not Gino, maybe a Willie Castro or a Yohan Moncada. Yeah, but your lineup is going to survive. If you get a Gino, now you're talking about a Cole Young at second base being the only weak spot in the lineup, and he's not even a weak spot. So yeah. But I just don't think it's a bigger need than that bullpen. And you talk about, some of those fringe guys tend to fall off or they have big years from, very finicky from year to year.
Yes.
A Joan Duran, a Griffin Jacks, a David Bednar, those are the established guys. Those are the guys where if you give up capital, you know what you're going to get. I mean, guys are not hitting 100-mile-an-hour splinker from Joan Duran. You know what I mean? Like that plays whatever year it is, whatever ballpark, whatever it is. So
I hope so.
I
hope so.
I see it both ways. I like the push for Gino. Me personally, I would rather have the bullpen arm. I know a lot of people are in your camp as well. So we will see. I just feel like with the Naylor trade, whatever happens, if the Mariners don't make another move, I think you can still put them in that winners category. Like they have a chance to. Jerry Dipoto said he wants to be aggressive. They have a chance to cement themselves as the winner of the trade deadline, which I know is what you like to see. But I just think with that Naylor trade, like you've already made this team significantly better.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
He's
now,
not a
that's
small
what
addition.
I like to see, and that's what I like to hear. And more importantly, is Jerry Dipoto speaking into existence. We're going to be aggressive. He put that on the record. That's all I wanted, Jerry. It's music to my ears, and with Julio heating up, you're right. This lineup is set. It can be. But, you can't have enough professional hitters. And if you add Suarez to this lineup, it's a great lineup.
Absolutely.
What more can you say about that?
Absolutely. The Mariners on the field.
We talked about Julio heating up.
Julio has been heating up. So they get the split with the Los Angeles Angels, which is sort of tough. You wish you could have taken 3 or 4 from them. But Julio, 4 home runs in those first 3 games in L.A. He's got a 130 WRC plus since the All-Star break. 5 multi-hit games since the All-Star break. Is the summer of Julio beginning? Can we start to say that?
I am so tired of this conversation. It's even more frustrating. And I love to see Julio picking it up because I love the Mariners. But this is frustrating because this is part of it. We want full season Julio, not late July, summertime Julio. We want him to be a consistent player, a professional from the start to the finish. This is what's so frustrating. We've been waiting for it all year. Julio will heat up. Julio will heat up. Well, if you start this way and you're consistent throughout the year, the Mariners would be in the division lead, if you ask me. What, they're 3 back, 2 back right now?
3 back right now.
3 back right now? You're not going to tell me if Julio had this kind of surge, this power surge in multi-hit games from the jump, that the Mariners wouldn't be in a better position. That's why it's so frustrating. That's why the fans have a problem with the way he's playing. It's because he's not consistent. And like I said, I mean, more power to him. I'm so happy that he's finally found the bat. He's heating up. I'd rather take it, later than not at all. But this is part of the frustration,
I feel like with Julio, yeah, do I wish he was a more consistent hitter? Absolutely. But like the floor that he's giving you, and that's what we saw through the beginning of the year. I mean, it's not up to his standard. Like, he's not happy with it. But he's still giving you like an above average bat.
Yes.
Who impacts the game defensively, who runs the bases really well, is going to give you a bunch of stolen bases. And then he's got this in the tank as well. I just think he's the 65th highest paid player in baseball, playing like a top 3 player in the league. I just think, we're lucky to have Julio, and it sucks that the expectations sort of got blown out of proportions for what everyone thought he was going to be. Because it prevents us from enjoying what we have right now. 4 home runs in 3 games. He just absolutely murders the Angels. He was getting booed in L.A. because he just kills the Angels all the time. So, it sucks that those expectations sort of take away from our enjoyment of him as a player.
I agree to a certain extent, but we need those expectations. That's what this franchise needed, and that's what they're missing, is expectations to win. And like I talked about in almost every podcast, we want championships. We don't want a heated up Julio in July, fizzles out, the Mariners 1 game out of the playoffs. No, we expect this team to contend for a championship. The time is now. Mm-hmm. The time is now to compete for a championship with these Mariners, and Julio needs to be a big part of that. That's why the frustration is. You talk about expectations and how they suck. No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to have expectations because he's such a great player. And like you said, his numbers is actually not that bad, but we expect more from Julio. And you talk about, he's 75th paid? That's a kudos. That's attributed to the Mariners and their organization paying him early, so they got a team-friendly deal with a young star, he's still a young star. I still give him that. But we want more simply because the expectation now is not a good team. The expectation now is a championship team.
Well, and luckily with the Naylor acquisition, you've got less pressure on Julio to carry this lineup. And who can carry this lineup? Yeah, absolutely. Another veteran presence. Who has been carrying this lineup, though? It's Cal Raleigh all season. A little bit of a slump, but he recently hit his 41st home run. I believe he's coming up on that record for catchers ever at 48 from Salvador Perez. He's absolutely going to get there. With Aaron Judge on the IL, he's now the betting favorite on DraftKings to win the MVP at -130. A Seattle Mariner, as we sit here on, July 29th, sits here as the betting favorite to win the American League MVP. I mean, what can you say about that?
I cannot say, anything more about Cal. He's been, like I said, he's been otherworldly. He's led this team from the start to right now. And he's been that leader, quiet leader too. I love his demeanor. I love the way he carries himself. And he just keeps hitting home runs. And you call it a mini slump, you call it a slump, whatever you want to call it, he always shows up. Mm-hmm. So his value behind the plate, also the value that he brings with his pitching staff and the calming effect. I love what Cal is doing this year. He was the MVP, in my opinion, before Judge went out. Now, Judge is, astronomical numbers. You can't take anything away from Judge. But Cal, I believe, is the AL MVP right now. And if he stays on just this pace alone, he will win that MVP award.
Do you feel like, is there anything to him maybe wearing down, getting a little tired after the All-Star festivities, being in the Home Run Derby? Are you worried about his longevity the rest of this season, given that he didn't really get the break that the rest of the starters got?
Yes, I think everybody is, even the team. Even the team is worried. So they're watching him closely, trust me. And you'll see him DHing a lot more and Garver, I believe, catching a little bit more. You will see that, but they will keep his bat in this lineup. So you ain't getting a full day off, Cal. You might not be able to go behind the plate, but we want your bat in that lineup. Yep. It's no excuses and no more breaks for the rest of the season for Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry, you got to play.
It's interesting. Foul Territory podcast was talking about this. They had like a sports medical professional on talking about the Aaron Judge injury, flexor strain injury in his elbow. And he was saying that Judge might be out closer to a month, let alone the more than just the 10 days that the team was saying. So it's going to be interesting to see because apparently that can impact a swing when he comes back to potentially try to DH.
Yes. I mean, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because, you want the best race as far as Cal versus Judge. You want everybody to be fully healthy and you want to win that fair and square. But you know what? I'm a Mariners fan and I'll take it how I get it.
Absolutely. The Mariners right now, they are in Sacramento playing the Athletics. A big start last night from Luis Castillo. 7 innings, just the 1 earned run. Root Sports threw up this graphic. Luis Castillo's last 6 starts, sub-2 ERA. I mean, you talked about George Kirby coming around. We're still waiting for Logan Gilbert, I feel like. But The Rock has been absolutely incredible, sort of leading this rotation along with Brian Wu. I mean, if you can just get even just part of the rotation that you had last year, I mean, this team is scary going forward, right?
Yes, with Logan Gilbert still rounded into shape. Yeah. I wouldn't say he's found his form yet, but, you have Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Castillo, the veteran, like The Rock. I mean, could it be any more nickname apropos?
No,
That's
absolutely.
what he's been his last 6 starts. He's giving you solid professional starts, quality starts. So he hasn't been lights out. He's had his moments, but Castillo has been The Rock.
Yeah,
definitely.
The veteran presence at the top of this Mariners rotation that they've needed this season. A lot of leadership.
Which begs the question: Mariners make the playoffs. Who's your number 1 starter in the playoffs?
That's a really good question. Brian Wu? Do you go Wu?
Wu never played in the playoffs. He's never pitched in the playoffs.
Do you go Wu? Do you go Kirby? Do you go Castillo? I mean, I wouldn't be mad if they went Castillo. If he's pitching well in September, just because he's been there, done that. You saw what he did to the Blue Jays, back when they made the playoffs in 23. I mean, yeah, I think.
It's a tough question. That history.
Check back in a couple months.
Yes, that history with Castillo, I think you have to go with him.
Yeah.
The calming, the calming presence, the solid, you're getting a quality start. He knows what to do. He's been there, done that. I would make an argument that right now, if the playoffs started today, even though Brian Wu, I believe, has been the better pitcher, the ace of this staff, I would give the ball to Castillo for game 1.
Yeah.
I would.
I'm not going to argue with that there. Preferably, I would love to be able to have the confidence to send Logan Gilbert out there, but you need to, if you end up throwing Logan Gilbert in game 1, that's awesome because it means he found something, right? So hopefully Logan Gilbert can round into form because he is the ace that this team really needs at the top end of that rotation.
I would agree.
Yeah. So Houston has all of a sudden lost 5 straight games. You're only 3 back of them in the division. But the Rangers are hot. They're only 1 game back of us, the Mariners, in the division, just 4 back of Houston. And guess who you play right after the Athletics here at home? The Texas Rangers.
Good.
So, and Root Sports was talking about it on the broadcast. The Rangers, not a very good team on the road. So hopefully you're getting the Rangers where you want them. The Mariners have been a great team at home. Big series coming up later this week.
There's no better way to catch a team or create separation than head-to-head.
Yep.
And this has to be the toughest or one of the toughest divisions in baseball, period. Because I think the Athletics are even a formidable team. Ask the Astros.
Yeah.
After this past series, one of the, the past series. So when they swept the Astros. So is this that swoon that we was waiting for? We've been waiting for the Astros to come back down to earth. It seems like that's happening. Now it's up to the Mariners to capitalize.
Yep. Take advantage. You still have a couple more days left in the trade deadline to make this team better for the long run. It's going to be a fun couple of days, fun week.
I mean, the race
for
is heating
baseball.
up. You couldn't ask for anything better right here. If our pitching staff, if the Mariners pitching staff rounded into form, I like the Mariners' chances. I like the place they're in. They're only 3 back. They can catch them. I think they still have a few more games with the Astros and head-to-head. If it comes to that, I like the Mariners' chances.
Well, the Mariners are only 3 back, and they haven't even played their best baseball so far this season, right? So, yeah, a lot of things to like with the Mariners situation right now, and I bet you they're going to get better before the trade deadline comes 3 p.m. on Thursday.
Do you think they get a player?
Absolutely. I think they get a reliever at the very least, and I wouldn't be surprised if they went out and got Willie Castro from the Twins on a 1-year deal to play third base.
Now, I joke around, and I'm going to ask you this question because I joke around and say, Jerry heard us. We've been saying get a player and say it. But do you think they're feeling the pressure of the Mariners fans? Because I think we're finally fed up and we want a winner.
I think they're hearing the pressure from upstairs, John Stanton, and their, the ownership. And I think the ownership is hearing the fans. The pressure is on. I mean, somebody asked in the press conference for Kate Anderson, about him being what you were talking about. Kate Anderson being a College World Series winner, coming in here to the only organization to not win a World Series. Right. John Stanton was in that room and heard that question. Kevin Martinez was too. Jerry Dipoto was in there too. Justin Hollander was in there too. So they know. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And, I think there is more impetus to not waste this season from Cal Raleigh more than anything. And how bad of a look it was for this ownership group to waste the rotation last year. And then if you go turn around and waste this season from Cal Raleigh, who has turned you into a top 10 offense in baseball, that would just be an absolute crime to not only the guys in that locker room and to Cal Raleigh himself, but to this entire fan base. So, yeah, I think they hear it. I think they're feeling the pressure. And I don't think it should be pressure. I think it should be opportunity.
Yes.
Right? You've stumbled upon this pot of gold of Cal Raleigh having the greatest season a catcher's ever had in Major League history, doing it as a switch hitter, as a Platinum Glove winner. Go out and take advantage of it.
Yes. Capitalize.
Calitalize. Yeah, that didn't that didn't really work.
Too much.
In other Mariner news, a historic day for the franchise. Ichiro Suzuki being inducted into the Hall of Fame over the weekend. If you haven't listened to his speech, go and listen to it.
Yes.
In an amazing Rick Riz impression.
Yes.
I don't know if you heard that, but that was holy smokes! So it was absolutely iconic.
Yes.
But so we have a top 5 for Ichiro today, don't we?
Before you talk about that, I want to talk about his speech. One of the better speeches, like you said, go check it out. And Ichiro spoke perfect English, and he's a smart, funny guy. And I just feel like if he would have showed that side of him to the Seattle fans, I mean, we loved him, trust me. We had our Ichiro jersey. I have one in my closet right now. We loved him. But I think he would have been more endearing if he would have showed that side of him. But let's go ahead and start with that top 5, dead or alive, Ichiro Hall of Famer moment. All right, here we go. We're going to go with number 5. Hold up, let me get my papers together. I'm sorry. All right. 5, a first career multi-homer game. Ichiro hits 2 home runs, June 2009. He's known for his slap hits, but he went ahead and put 2 over the fence, and the fans were in shock. All right. Now, let's go with 4. 4, leadoff home run in the ALDS, Game 1, 2001 playoffs. That was that magical 116-win season. Yep. Ichiro said, hey, I'm here. First pitch, he hits over the fence. His first home run in the playoffs, Ichiro. All right. Let's go to number 3, the Spider-Man wall climb. That's what they calling it. The catch is in September 26 in 2005. Ichiro channeled his Spider-Man by scaling the right field wall at Safeco Field to rob Garrett Anderson of a home run. It's still one of the most acrobatic catches in Mariners history. All right, let's go to number 2, All-Star Game, 2007. Inside the park home run at AT&T Park in San Francisco, I believe. Ichiro put his speed on full display and the first player in All-Star Game history to hit an inside the park home run. Ichiro would go on to be named All-Star Game MVP. All right, and here it is, drum roll.
Number 1?
Number 1 is, we had the tip in football last week. Now we have the throw. in baseball, and you know what I'm talking about.
Can I roll the clip?
Yeah,
Can I roll the clip?
Roll that clip.
Here comes a 3-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and a ground ball punched into right field for a base hit. So heading to third base is Long. The throw to third base, and they've got him nailed at third base on a tremendous throw by Ichiro. I'm here to tell you that Ichiro threw something out of Star Wars down there at third base.
Incredible.
Incredible. And the call, 2 Hall of Famers in that clip right there, the late, great Dave Niehaus, and then you had Ichiro throwing it on a frozen rope to third base, turns long, he didn't have a chance. Ichiro, I think that was Ichiro's 10th game in the league.
Was it?
So it told you, he's known for his hitting. He's the hit king. And a lot of people, want to make fun because he slap hits and he shows his speed, but he was a defensive demon. And you bet not run on Ichiro, and he showed it in that clip right there.
I think I completely agree that is Ichiro's top moment, that throw, and I also think that's Dave Niehaus' best call of all time. So two of the greats, the best play for both of their careers. I mean, that is some wizardry from Dave Niehaus to whip out that call from that throw. And you hear his voice at the beginning like, Terrence Long is going to make it into the third base. Oh, my goodness. Like, he just absolutely catches him out of nowhere. And that was Ichiro for you, right? Like, he just sort of caught you out of nowhere, coming over from Japan. Players historically didn't really have much success. And he comes out, and he's one of the best players of all time.
In honor of Ichiro, I wanted to do this, Ethan. I just wanted to do the sleeve, Should we just do the sleeve,
Yeah.
He was so cool. Mm-hmm. Like, he was the coolest baseball player. I even wanted to mimic his swing, and I didn't even play baseball. But Ichiro, one of the Mariner greats. I mean, I would definitely put him right up there with Griffey at 1A, 1B, maybe 2, because you can't go against the kid. But Ichiro is up there for sure. Congratulations to Ichiro from On the Sidelines podcast. Hall of Famer, Mariner.
A Mariner. One of us. I will say, I absolutely love the list. You can't talk greatest Ichiro moments without bringing up his walk-off home run off of the greatest closer of all time, Mariano Rivera. Absolutely incredible at T-Mobile Park. Takes that cutter middle in and just smokes into the right field seats. I'm never going to forget that one.
And his accolades. I mean, 10 straight seasons with 200 hits. He breaks the
single-season
hit George Sisler's 84-year-old record. He breaks it. He's 2001 MVP and Rookie of the Year. We can go on and on and on with some of the accolades and the records that Ichiro has set here in Major League Baseball, and that was after hitting having 1,500 hits over in the Japan League. So he spent part of his career over there. So he didn't come as a young rookie.
He's 27.
He was 27 years old. Just imagine if he'd have came when he was 24 or the same age as Julio. He'd have 4,000 or 5,000 hits. The guy was just great. What more can you say?
Well, the Mariners are retiring his jersey in early August. He deserves a statue. Can you imagine his iconic pose?
Oh, man. I mean, I can see the statue now. It better be the sleeve. It just
absolutely.
It's no other pose for him.
Yeah.
Like you have to have a statue. You have Edgar. You have Griffey. Now you have to have Ichiro, Hall of Famer. Mariners don't have too many.
No.
So go ahead and honor that guy. Definitely.
Absolutely amazing. Always a good time to celebrate Ichiro, and his jersey retirement. It's going to be incredible.
And anytime you get food named after you in the town, the Ichiro.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm hungry, y'all.
That says it right now. I mean, Cooperstown's cool, but not everybody's got the Ichiro.
Hey, everybody don't have the Ichiro. you got the sushi named after you.
Yeah, that's incredible.
All right. And the contingent from Japan that used to travel with him, I mean, he brought the game together internationally. He was one of the first international stars. Hats off to Ichiro. Congratulations again.
Absolutely. All right, let's switch gears. The Seahawks training camp rolls on starting week 2 yesterday. Pads are finally on. Pads are finally on for these Seahawks. They were wearing shells last week. There's some ramp-up period the NFL's doing nowadays. These guys have been itching to get pads on, and they had their first padded practice yesterday. What have you been seeing with Seahawks training camp, reading up on that's caught your eye?
What I've been reading up on, I mean, you're the one that's been out there, so I want to ask you a few questions, but what I've been reading up on is Jalen Milroe. everybody wants to see Milroe, and he hasn't disappointed. He's been the breakout star of the camp so far. I mean, so I guess a question I would ask to you is, how has he looked, and do you think he can overtake Drew Lock for that number 2 spot?
Yeah, I think I did see that Brian Nemhauser was pumping Jalen Milroe up a little bit. I haven't seen the same thing. I mean, Brian was out there watching a lot more than I was, and I think he had a really good day of practice when he was talking about that. The days that I was out there, he was solid. He looks like a pro quarterback, and Brady Henderson said this on the radio, like what you want to see from a rookie quarterback is, can they command the huddle? Do they look organized at the line of scrimmage? Getting the plays off, doing the process things right.
Do they belong?
Do they belong?
Like they belong?
And Jalen Milroe, from a preparation standpoint, looks like he's ready to go. Throwing wise, I've seen some. The quarterbacks were doing some boot rolls, some bootlegs into some crossing routes and the long balls as well. Sam Darnold's ball looks a lot better than Jalen Milroe's ball. And that was just one drill that I was watching, but there's still room for growth for Jalen Milroe and what I'm seeing with his arm. Now, in training camp, you can't really see what he does best, and that's his legs, because you can't touch the quarterback. So that is what's going to jump off the page the most once we get into preseason games. That's what I'm most excited about. Can he overtake Drew Lock, to get to your question? I don't think this year. I think if Sam Darnold goes down, the Seahawks are a lot more comfortable with Drew Lock, knowing what they're going to get. Jalen Milroe, maybe he's got the higher ceiling than Drew Lock. He definitely has a lower floor. You know what you're going to get from Drew Lock. He's a guy that can run the offense competently, and he's got a good arm.
Yes.
And he went out and beat the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football just 2 years ago.
Yes.
So I don't think Drew Lock is still on this roster for a reason. Now, let's get to the start of the regular season and see if Drew Lock is still on this roster. That's going to tell you a lot about where they think Jalen Milroe is. I hope they put some packages together for him. And Mike McDonald's talked about, out of the Wildcat or something, because he's such a weapon, right?
Yes.
Like, he's such a weapon with his legs, but then he's also, a third-round drafted quarterback who can throw it with the best of them. So Mike McDonald has said that Jalen Milroe, and rightfully so as a rookie, needs to earn his trust, that he can be put into a situation where packages are built around him. I think he's trending in the right direction. I think he's doing all the right things. Everything that we've heard from the coaching staff is that his work ethic and the character that they drafted is what they wanted to get.
Yes.
So,
yes. And what about Sam Darnold? Also, I mean, he's taking his team by the reins. He's the starter.
Yeah.
How has he looked in camp?
Yeah, the 2 days I was there, an interception both days, one on 7-on-7 drills, one in 11-on-11 drills. And it was sort of a similar throws, sort of a crossing route over to the left side where he didn't see the safety underneath, who sort of came back and cut the route off and picked him off. I think, McDonald was asked about it, actually, and he was like, this is the time where we want to let it rip, make those mistakes so that we can build off of it.
Right.
So I don't think it's a big deal at all. And I'm glad that people aren't really talking about it that much, compared to OTAs when he had a couple interceptions and people were making it a big deal. I think Darnold's looked great, and his teammates, in the pressers have all spoken like really highly of him. He got a bunch of receivers together in California between OTAs and training camp in that time. So
okay.
I think he's doing all the right things, and he's a great guy. Like, he's a big golfer. Those of you out there that watch, YouTube golf, like he'll go on to some of the channels, and he's just like a good dude, like just chill vibes. I feel like I'm excited to see what he can do.
Does he need to replicate the last season that he had with the Vikings? Does he need to replicate that season in order for the Seahawks to be effective?
I don't think so. Like,
Or can he? I guess can a better
can
question.
he? I'm not betting on that. The Vikings, I feel like, had a lot more around him than the Seahawks are going to have this year. But, the Seahawks don't need him to go out and do what Geno did last year and drop back and throw the ball 55 times. Like, Clint Kubiak's going to come in here with a run-first offense, going to be playing with 2 tight ends most of the time. None of these, 4 or 5 receiver sets. Like, they're committed to running the ball. If they're It remains to be seen whether that offensive line is going to be good enough for them to achieve that.
Yes.
If the offense is relying on Sam Darnold, other things within there's bigger problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's
The
not what this.
running game.
Yeah, exactly. That's not what this offense is designed to be. So I think I'm looking forward to Clint Kubiak doing a good job of protecting Sam Darnold and not having to do too much.
And speaking of protecting Darnold, that offensive line is in flux right now. What do you see happening with that guard position? And the center position is up in the air, and a new contestant has arrived for the center position, Christian Haynes.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I thought that was really interesting. I heard Corbin Smith on Sports Radio 93.3 KJR-FM, and he was talking about, he spoke with Haynes, asked him about being in at center, and he said that he was like super excited about it and stuff like that. So the more opportunity for him, the better. We talked about it on a previous episode of, with Curtis, of how like Haynes wasn't even getting onto the active roster. He was a healthy scratch. So, and that says a lot about how the coaching staff thinks about him. So if he can get in there, I mean, he's fully into that competition. He's fully in this right guard competition as well. So Curtis has mentioned, the Ryan Grubb, Scott Huff tandem there. Scott Huff being the offensive line coach. They were not a fan of how he was coaching that offensive line. Get John Benson in here. He's a professional. He's an NFL offensive line coach. So, Curtis mentioned they're betting on this offensive line, these young guys that they have in-house being better. You better be right.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
I think they are right. I expect Anthony Bradford to win that guard position. And I actually picked Jalen Sundell to win the center position.
Okay.
I think he will win that. And that would be a surprise, I believe. I think he played a few games last season. I think Sundell will win that center position over Olawa Timmy and Christian Haynes. So that would be my pick. The offensive line has to come together. And you pencil in a rookie and Gray Zabel over on the other side with Charles Cross. So he's right there. He's solid. But he's still a rookie. So this offensive line is probably a work in progress. As far as the run game, I want to go ahead and send my prayers out to Kenny McIntosh.
Oh, yeah.
He went down with a torn ACL. Reportedly, we don't really know for sure what happened. But Kenny McIntosh, get back, get well soon. And this only gives an opportunity for the rookie, Damian Martinez, to step up. What have you seen anything from Martinez?
I mean, he looks the part. Beast Mode 2.0. I mean,
Is that what they calling him?
That's his nickname. That's his
I
nickname.
don't know. I mean, come on, man. Put some respect on Beast Mode name.
But that's his running style. That's his mentality. Like he's seeking out contact.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You got to have
a physical
at least
back.
one NFL carry before you get that kind of name, right?
That's what people call. That's not what he calls himself. That was his nickname, his reputation throughout college. I love the draft pick. Corbin Smith from Emerald City Spectrum. He put a video out there. He said it was they were doing a running back pass protection. Corbin said it was the best pass protection drill he's seen from a running back. Damian Martinez's performance in there that he's seen in his 9 years covering the team. So I wasn't there. I didn't see that, but I mean that if he's gonna lock up that third string running back role, he has to be able to protect the passer.
I agree. I remember Martinez from Oregon State. I mean, he was drafted from the Miami Hurricanes. I guess
he was awesome
when he transferred. But Oregon State, from a freshman, he's been a stud.
Yes.
And he's always had that tough running style. I think he even runs a little tougher than Charbonnet, if you ask me. Now, with that mix of Charbonnet, Ken Walker, who they said by all accounts looks great right now. He's in shape. He's healthy finally. Hopefully he can stay that way. And Martinez, I think you need to spread those carries around because we haven't been durable at that position. So in order to keep those guys fresh, I think you need to spread those carries between those three backs.
Well, it's a good point. And we talked, I think it was last episode, about Ken Walker's durability.
Yes.
And, if you're able to spread the carries around a little bit and keep Ken Walker on the field, because you can't help the club in the tub, as we have established on the sidelines. If you can keep him on the field, I mean, this offense can be dangerous. I don't know if Damian Martinez is in competition to actually get snaps, actually get carries. I feel like the two-headed monster of Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet is pretty established. But, man, I'm excited to see what Damian Martinez can do in the preseason. You know what I mean? And George Halani as well. I mean, he was incredible last preseason out of Boise State. So, hopefully I would bet on the rookie Damian Martinez winning that job over Halani. But hopefully they can keep Helani on that practice squad because, as we're learning, with the Kenny McIntosh injury, you can never have too many running backs.
Yes.
Right? So,
and let's talk about roster construction because I see a problem. If you're going to carry 3 quarterbacks every week, and I only say that because you're talking about putting a package together for Milroe, and then you have Drew Lock as the backup. So that's 3 quarterbacks on an active roster each week. What position is going to lose? And you also have, I think, 5 or 6 tight ends because you're carrying full, slash halfbacks or H-backs as far as a fullback with Brady Russell, and you have the rookie Oots. So I'm interested to see how the Seahawks handle their roster come game day. I know we're long ways away. We're going to have a few cuts, but I'm still curious to see what they'll do.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, specifically at tight end and what they do with Brady Russell if he loses the starting spot to Robbie Oots, who Mike McDonald said never bet against Brady Russell. I mean, he should not be in the league. He's a gritty guy. Just physical dude, loved the energy. He was hyping up the crowd all week when the fans were out there at training camp. It was absolutely awesome. But, I mean, you've got, I wanted to bring up the tight end position, actually. You got A.J. Barner, you got Elijah Arroyo, you got Eric Saubert, who's, nice blocking tight end from the Niners. Does Brady Russell fit in there? Does he fit in at fullback? You can't carry 2 fullbacks, and you probably can't carry a 4th tight end. So it's like, where does Brady Russell fit into this team?
Yes. Now, from what I understand, Russell is going to stick with fullback. So maybe he's that guy. I love his energy. I love his passion for the game. I think he makes this team, which leaves Oots, the rookie, as the odd man out. Maybe he makes the practice squad. I don't know.
I have a hard time believing them drafting a fullback and then him not making the roster. You know what I mean? So we'll see. Yes. I wanted to talk about the tight end room because I thought it was really interesting. When I was out there, we talked to A.J. Barner, and he was asked about this opportunity with Noah Fant no longer on the roster, what he thought of Elijah Arroyo in the competition. And he was talking about how, I mean, some people can take the route of, we both know like what's at stake and what we're competing for and stuff like that. He was talking about Elijah's incredible, great kid, super talented. I'm going to do whatever I can to help him. And he said that, and he's like, because it's not going to be a one-man show. And I just thought that was so interesting because we've been talking about this as if they're competing for that starting tight end spot, quote unquote.
Yes.
But this Clint Kubiak offense runs a bunch of 12 personnel with 2 tight ends on the field. So having 2 pass catchers available who can also block and be versatile, I mean, that's going to be an incredible advantage for this team. And it really isn't going to be a one-man show. Think, Aaron Hernandez, Rob Gronkowski with the Patriots. Like, I feel like both A.J. Barner and Elijah Arroyo have the potential to be threats in the passing game and then also complement this offense incredibly well.
Yes, and I said it last week and I'll say it again. I love Barner.
Yeah.
I think Barner will surprise. I have a few breakout players that I expect this year, and Barner is one of them. Byron Murphy is one of them, definitely. And then I want Reek Woolen to have, turn back the clock to his rookie season and have one of those special seasons, and I trust he will, with this being a contract year. So if you get Reek Woolen, Byron Murphy, and A.J. Barner all breaking out this season, I think that the projected wins of 7, the over-under is at 7 wins.
7.5, like, come on.
It's ridiculous for the Seahawks. I think they surpassed that by at least 3 or 4 games like they did last year. Now, let me ask you this because it's funny because I was wondering, why is the over-under at 7.5, 7? What are they seeing or what are they not seeing that, why do they not think this is a great Seahawks team, which I think they are? Well, last season they were picked to win 7 games and they went ahead and won, I believe 10.
10, yep.
Right? So last year it was they didn't believe in Geno. They didn't believe in the quarterback. All right? Now this year it's the same story. They don't believe in Darnold because they feel like Geno was better. Yep. Make it make sense. Which one is it? Do you like Geno? Did you not like Geno? Now that he's gone, he was better than Darnold. It just makes no sense. The Seahawks, I see them winning no less than 10 games. I picked them at 13, called me crazy. All right. But,
heard it here on the sidelines.
You heard it here. I'm gonna put my name on it, So, but just make it make sense. Which one is it? 7.5 is a low number for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think it's criminally low. I can sort of see where they're coming from. Being under the 10-game mark, being under the 8-game mark is a little bit much for me. I mean, when you look at the national narrative around Sam Darnold, guys don't really have the highest opinion of him, and they don't think he's going to replicate what he did last year. But looking at the step forward that this defense is absolutely going to take, I just think you can ride that defense. You know what I mean? And especially, Curtis, earlier in the offseason made the argument, the devil's advocate argument for why this season wouldn't go the way that we think it's going to go. And that 7-win mark could be more realistic because you've got maybe Darnold isn't what he was last year. This offensive line doesn't improve. Cooper Kupp gets hurt. You've got DeMarcus Lawrence could get, you've got some injury prone guys on the roster that you're expecting to contribute. But I just don't see that playing out. I mean, Cooper Kupp was hurt last year. I think other than that, injury wise hasn't been too big of an issue. And then just looking at the Derek Hall's poised for a breakout year. Byron Murphy in year 2. You've got Boye Mafe in a his contract is coming up. You adding a DeMarcus Lawrence. You've got Tyrese Knight in year 2. You brought back Ernest Jones, and this defense was just night and day different when he came into the fold. You've got Devin Witherspoon, looking to prove some haters wrong after a 0 interception season, right?
And after a pick 6 yesterday in practice, Nick
Imanwari,
yes,
absolutely,
I love the way he looks. He looks the part.
Absolutely,
so I agree with you.
I wanted to ask you last question before we move on from the Seahawks. This defense, high expectations that I just mentioned. They were just 23rd in sacks last year. Do you think that are you worried about? Do they have enough of a pass rush to be elite, the top 10, top 5 echelon that we think they're going to be?
I would say no right now. I always said I wanted a twitchy athlete on that edge with just one track mind. Go get the quarterback, and I don't know if they have that. Boye Mafe, Derek Hall, they've all been okay. And the Wusu, he looked like he was going to fill that role before he succumbed to his injuries, the last 2 or 3 seasons. So I would say no right now, but they can be a pass rush team that puts pressure on the quarterback.
Right.
And they have the cornerbacks, they have the secondary to hold them in place for them to get to the quarterback. You have Witherspoon on one side, Woolen on the other. That's elite. And you move Spoon to the inside and bring in a veteran in Shaq Griffin. So, and Josh Jobe, I might add him. And you have the safety tandem of Kobe and Julian Love. So I feel great about the secondary to hold them in place and let those pass rushers get there. But right now, can they be top 5 in sacks? I don't think their makeup is for the sacks. Now, if it's one thing that, and I want to switch subjects here, because if it's one thing that I want to see out of the Seahawks this year, most importantly, I want to see them establish home field advantage again.
Yes.
And, they sent out letters to the 12s. I didn't like it. I'll go on the record as saying that, but I won't go in depth with that. But the team must establish home field advantage again and bring those 12s back and bring that crowd back. But you got to give us something to cheer about.
Yeah, absolutely. The play on the field has to back it up. I mean, the Legion of Boom days, everyone was trying to get out there because you had the best defense arguably of all time.
Yes.
It's a good point. With the pass rush, Derek Hall, everybody has been talking about him and just the physical specimen that he is. And DeMarcus Lawrence has sort of taken him under his wing a little bit.
Yes.
They're working after time on pass rush moves, and DeMarcus is showing Derek exactly where to place his hands, to do these swim moves and stuff like that.
And hopefully he takes Boye too, because those are young players. I don't know if they had that kind of elite, because DeMarcus Lawrence, he's an elite pass rusher.
Right.
I don't know if they ever had that elite pass rusher veteran presence that's going to pass it down to them. I don't know if they had that. No disrespect. Maybe I'm forgetting the name. I don't know. But I don't recall them having that kind of veteran that's been that successful, who has the pedigree, who has the stats, the play to back up and say, hey, Derek Hall, let's go over here and work on hand placement. And, you have to come because that's the OG. So, I hope Boye is listening also, because I expect a good year from him, a great year for him, as a matter of fact, as he seeks an extension. And Reek Woolen, those are 2 players that I think has Pro Bowl potential that needs to show up this season in order for the Seahawks to hit that top 5 defense mark.
Yeah, well, maybe eventually we'll have to do a top 5 breakout players leading into the season.
Hey, there you go. Top 5, dead or alive.
So we will do that as the season approaches. Let's switch gears. The Sounders over the weekend, a draw in Atlanta, 2-2. My biggest takeaway, more problems at the back. You had Reed Baker-Whiting starting over Nuhu at left back. He sort of gets bullied off the ball for the first goal, leads to the own goal off of Yamar. I mean, that's Reed Baker-Whiting right there, and it just comes back to the defensive mistakes with this team, which is completely opposite of what we've been talking about for the past year. I mean, this team is producing goals. Pedro de la Vega scored in his second straight game, which I know you love to see.
Yes, love to see.
And, I mean, the Sounders, they went up 2-1 in stoppage time. Ultimately, the guy from Atlanta hits the strike of his life. I'm not really going to put that on defense. That's just sort of bad luck. But earlier in the game, I mean, Atlanta just dominated that first half. They hit the post, a lot of really good open opportunities that Atlanta couldn't convert. I think the Sounders were lucky to get out of there with a draw, even though it sort of seemed unlucky in the moment that Atlanta equalized in the way that they did.
Yes, and the Sounders, I mean, they must be artists because they love to draw. That's a dad joke. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to say it, all right? Because, I mean,
I laugh at your dad joke, but you don't laugh at mine. Come on.
I'm just saying, they love a draw. They give up the second latest goal ever in Sounders history against Atlanta. Yeah. Second latest ever, so in stoppage time. But they came out with the point. The Sounders continue to come out with positive points, though. I would love to see them win a little bit more and get that full, full 3, as they would say. But with De La Vega rounded into shape like you expected him to at the beginning of the season, I think it's promising for the Sounders. I like the space they're in. They're in 4th place. They only, I think, 2 back from 3rd. So they're in a good position. I think if you continue to roll out this lineup and continue to ride De La Vega, I think the Sounders can take it as far as the championship, the MLS championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Christian Roldan said after the game that since the Club World Cup, they haven't played a full, comprehensive 90 minutes they know they're capable of. So that's a little bit tough, but I feel like, that was the final game before Leagues Cup. So you've got Cruz Azul in town on Thursday. We know them from the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Not really looking forward to seeing them, but hopefully we can get some revenge over there. They played 3 Liga MX teams in this Leagues Cup in the group stage. Hopefully they can move on from there. But I feel like a good spell. If you bow out in the Leagues Cup, I don't care. I want an MLS Cup. I want to, get situated for
the main thing.
Exactly.
And it's funny you talk about the League Cup because that goes right into what's trending. And it's talking about fatigue in the league and all these extra tournaments and these extra leagues like a League Cup, like a Club World Cup, that these players, the players are feeling the effects of playing too much in the MLS, and some of them are complaining, namely the greatest player of all time, Lionel Messi. Yep. Okay, now Messi was suspended for 1 game for not showing up to the All-Star game. He didn't give proper notice, all right? And he said
I think he gave notice, he just didn't get it approved.
I think it was the day before. He said, hey, I ain't coming.
Yeah.
What do? They suspended him for 1 game. They held that's the rule, him and his teammate. Both of them were suspended for a game. So what do you think about the whole Messi deal? It's messy.
Yeah. 3 dad jokes comes in 3s, guys. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it is. I feel like Messi is the best word to describe it because you've got the greatest player of all time playing in your league. You want to appease him. You want him to stay. But at the end of the day, you got to send a message to the rest of the league that we're just not going to bow over, to this one player. And it is the letter of the law for, if you miss the All-Star game without getting it approved, that you are suspended for a game. And the MLS held up to their standard. My problem is not that Messi missed the game or that the league suspended him. My problem is with the format of the All-Star game. They had the All-Star game as a midweek fixture between 2 weekend games. The compared to the NFL, the Pro Bowl, their All-Star game is at the end of the season.
Yes.
Nobody, it's a vacation for these players with a, exhibition within that. In Major League Baseball, it's mid-season, but you've got literally, for the players not playing in the All-Star game,
a break.
You've got a full 6 days of no games. And then after the All-Star game, for the players that play in the All-Star game, you've got a full 3 days with no baseball before the season picks up again. For the MLS players, these are soccer players who do not play every single day, who can't because they run 5 miles every single game. Yeah. You just physically can't do that to your body. They have a midweek game. I mean, that's more of a toll on the body than a normal just week-to-week game. It's like asking NFL players to play their All-Star game between weeks 11 and week 12 on a Wednesday, and then still expecting them to play on I don't blame Messi for not wanting to play.
Yes.
He's older. He's starting to deal with these injury issues. It doesn't matter. The game doesn't matter. It's an exhibition with the Liga MX too. It just doesn't matter. I think MLS needs to do a better job of where they're situating their All-Star game. In my opinion, they slotted this game week in right before Leagues Cup. Just take that. I mean, they had games on that Friday. The All-Star game was on Wednesday. They had games on that Friday, less than 48 hours after the All-Star game had ended. And yeah, you can make the argument that they just need Messi to stand on the field for 10 minutes and then he wouldn't have gotten in trouble. You take into account the travel that these players are doing.
And that's when you get injured.
Exactly.
When you can't give your full effort.
Exactly.
When you just want them to stand out there for 10 minutes, that's when the players actually get injured. So I'm with Messi here. If he's fatigued, if he's feeling the effects, now make no mistake, he averages 90 minutes a game. He's in for Inter Miami the whole match.
Yeah.
So he plays.
And they played in the Club World Cup as well.
They played in the Club World Cup just like the Sounders did. So he's playing for his squad. So to miss this, the only thing problem I have, hey, you got to give notice. Hey, if I got to call in 24 hours for me to miss work, Messi, you got to do the same thing, all right?
I mean, I don't know for sure that it was the day before. That's when the report came out. And it was actually the Miami's owner who's like, we don't want you, Messi, to play in this game, and Jordi Alba too. I just don't blame him. I just think the way that MLS has their league situated, I mean, there's no All-Star game in the Premier League. There's no All-Star game in Italy, France, Germany, Spain. They just don't do that.
So you would drop in the All-Star game altogether?
I wouldn't drop the All-Star game, but it's just not more important than the league. And that's what Messi is prioritizing. Putting it as a midweek fixture, that just makes it boggles my mind how idiotic it is to put more toll onto these players for an All-Star game, for a marketing exhibition. Either put it at the end of the season or give the players a full 2 weeks off. Like, if you want them to play in this game, and I bet you if the league, if they hadn't played 3 days before and the game week didn't start 2 weeks right after the All-Star game, I bet you Messi probably would have been more incentivized to play.
Yes.
But I just don't blame him for not playing. Yes. And I think that's why the suspension, I have Messi on my fantasy team, so I wasn't exactly happy that he got suspended. That's why I think the suspension is stupid, because I think it's dumb that he had to play in the All-Star game anyway. And I think it's not just for Messi, like a Denny Bouanga, or for an Obed Vargas who was there with the Sounders. I think it's stupid that he was there and he wasn't resting after this Club World Cup that they were playing in. Obed Vargas had to go get on a plane and go to, I don't even know where the All-Star game was. Like, I don't really care about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just never been a main event like the MLB All-Star game is. Like, Cal Raleigh is like, yeah, I want to play in the All-Star game, even though he plays the most grueling position of baseball.
It's an honor.
I want to play in the home run derby. Like, that's just not what the All-Star game is. And I'm not saying to drop the All-Star game, but you need to have it to where it's not a chore for these players to play in. And that's what it is. It's just taxing on an already crowded schedule. You're going to try to squeeze in a midweek exhibition.
And that's what it is. You said it best. They are trying to squeeze it in. And that's the problem. The juice got to be worth the squeeze, though, right?
Yes.
You know, and it's not worth it because guess what? If I'm Obed Vargas or I'm any of these young players whose first time as an All-Star, I want to see Messi there. I want to see him. I want to meet him. I want to rub elbows with him and all the other All-Stars. Yeah. So if those players aren't there, then what is it really about? Now, it's because, like you said, the league is trying to squeeze in the League Cup, in the Club World Cup, in this championship, and that. It's just too much. It's too much for the players. The players are going to fight for this, more rest, less of a schedule. Fatigue is a real thing, I believe. I think Messi is right. Should he have been suspended? Yes, because that's the letter of the law. That's the rules. We go by rules. It's always going to be consequences. But he's resting right now, and they did him a favor.
I agree with that because the league was put in a position to where they had to enforce their rules, or else, the player. I mean, what are the rules?
Run them up.
Yeah, but it's the combination of, I would not have a problem with them enforcing that if the All-Star game was better planned out to where, it's just not putting so much of a toll on these players. Now with the competitions, the added competitions, these international competitions is how you get the league to grow. So the League's Cup, whatever. The CONCACAF Champions Cup is really the one that I look at. But you go over to Europe and these elite Premier League teams are playing in Champions League. They're playing in the FA Cup. Like yes. they're playing in these different competitions. In Spain, they've got what is it called? They've got their Spanish Cup, the FA Cup version in Spain. Copa Libertadores in South America. Like you've got all these competitions. That's normal for everyone. So I'm not, with all these competitions, it's just like take 2 games off your league schedule. Because you have control over that. If you want to do all these international competitions, great, but you need to adjust your own stuff too.
Right.
So that's the problem that I have with the league. And now you're putting Messi in a position where, you did the right thing by suspending him, in my opinion, but now you make him not want to come back to your league. And, I don't really blame him at the end of the day. Like before this whole All-Star game debacle and the suspension, there were, reports that he really liked it at Miami and was going to be staying. And it's good for Messi to be in this league. I know a lot of people are mad about Inter Miami and all the players they're able to add through these loopholes and stuff like that, players taking less pay, whatever. Messi being in the league is good for the league and the brand exposure. Now, with this whole thing, you're just pushing him away a little bit. And it's because you just didn't plan it out properly. It's not because you had to enforce the suspension. I think you just didn't plan out the All-Star game properly, in my opinion.
Hey, I don't think Messi's going anywhere. You're talking about a player who has equity and ownership in his team.
Yeah.
He to the tune of $54 million, and money talks. So I don't think Messi's going anywhere. Yes, you want to placate your star. He's the biggest star in the league right now, for sure. But I think the MLS is stuck between a rock and a hard place where they had to enforce the rules. The schedule is what it is. I just think you need to allow the players to go ahead and rest. That's why you have a deep roster. So.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I think that's going to about do it for this episode of On the Sidelines. Go follow our Instagram at On the Sidelines Podcast. We're also
comment in the comments section. Let us know what you think.
Let us know what you think about Messi. Let us know what you think about the trade deadline with the Mariners. We're going to be back next week with full trade deadline recap. Hopefully, we got some new Mariners that we're going to be talking about. Seahawks Training Camp. Some breakout stars that D-Jack, we're going to be getting your take.
Dead or alive.
all the things that you love from us here on the Sidelines. So, for D-Jack, Dante Jackson, I'm Ethan McReynolds. We'll see you next time on the Sidelines.
Let's go!
On the Sidelines is available wherever you get your podcast.